Your heart is a dual mechanism. Though appearing as a single unit, it's actually two separate parallel pumps. A thick wall, called the septum, divides the heart, preventing blood from mixing. The independent left and right sides fire simultaneously, moving blood through different circuits. This dual pump architecture is the mechanical logic that governs how the entire circulatory system delivers its payload. The first circuit begins with deoxygenated blood. It exits the right ventricle and travels through the pulmonary artery toward the lungs. Inside the lungs, the blood drops off carbon dioxide waste and loads up on fresh oxygen. The vector shifts to red as the blood becomes oxygen-rich. This oxygenated blood then returns to the left atrium through the pulmonary veins, completing the pulmonary circuit. This localized loop reloads the blood with oxygen, but at this stage, the flow lacks the momentum required to reach the rest of the body. The left pump initiates the second, much larger circuit. The left ventricle sends this oxygenated blood out through the aorta to reach the rest of the body. At the cellular level, blood delivers oxygen and collects carbon dioxide waste continuously across your body. The deoxygenated blood then flows back to the right atrium via the vena cava, completing the systemic circuit to ensure all cells receive nutrients. This second circuit ensures the survival of distant tissues before the figure-8 cycle immediately restarts. This diagram shows how pressure fluctuates throughout the cycle. If blood is successfully oxygenated in the lungs, it raises a question: why return to the heart at all instead of flowing straight to the body? Moving through the ultra-narrow vessels of the lungs creates massive mismatches. As the blood passes through the lung capillaries, its pressure and kinetic energy drop to these low levels shown on the gauge. If the blood tried to bypass the heart and go straight to the body, the low pressure would cause the flow to stall, failing to reach the extremities. By routing back to the left ventricle, the blood receives a secondary compression. The heart launches it again, spiking the pressure back to the high levels needed for systemic delivery. Double circulation functions as a mandatory pressure generation engine, providing the energy required for long-distance systemic survival. We can track this logic by following a single drop of blood. It enters the heart from the body through the vena cava. Trace its path mentally to the aorta. Identify each chamber it enters and determine its oxygen status at every transition. The blood moves from the right atrium to the right ventricle, travels to the lungs for oxygen, returns to the left atrium, and finally enters the left ventricle to be pumped out the aorta. Visualizing this interlocking loop confirms you have mastered the mechanical sequence of the dual pump system. To apply this to your exams, define double circulation as the separation of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood into two distinct circuits, pulmonary and systemic. For full descriptive marks, state that pulmonary circulation moves blood between the heart and lungs, while systemic circulation moves it between the heart and the rest of the body. When asked for a benefit, identify that this system maintains high blood pressure in the systemic circuit for efficient delivery to all cells. These three panels summarize the core concepts: pulmonary route, systemic route, and the resulting pressure advantage. Recalling these three components and their physical advantages ensures your answers contain the specific details required for any circulatory question on exam day.